Hello, it's Greg Harrelson here, Century 21. Of course, I'm serving both the Charleston, South Carolina real estate market as well as Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I just wanted to, have a conversation with you and just kind of share one of my thoughts that I just had a few days ago. And I said, I need to create a video on this. And the topic of this is, how to manage your conversations with your spouse or your significant other when you're new to the real estate business. So if you're new to the real estate business or you're even thinking about a career in real estate, you really want to watch this video because I can assure you this happens with every single person that goes into the business. Their first 90 days to 6 months can be both exciting yet very challenging. So I just kind of wanted to share this to you. I have never seen anybody, speak on this topic, so I thought this might be some value to you. So here's what happens. You first get your real estate license, you pass your test, you get hired with a real estate company, and you really get excited. You're like, wow, here's a fresh start, a brand new opportunity. You and your spouse are talking about, hey, I know it's going to take a little bit of time. They've told me it's going to take 6 months before I get my first paycheck. You have those conversations, and then you take the leap and you go to work. Well, if you choose the right company, especially like my office, then you come in there and the environment, the culture is very positive, and all of a sudden you're going home and you're talking about what you did during that day. Maybe you say, gosh, I called some people, I actually got a few leads, I got some email addresses, and you're telling your spouse that, and you're really excited. So guess what your spouse is going to do? They're going to get excited. They're like, wow, I'm glad, this is great, I'm so happy for you. Because that's, one of the things that they're committed to is supporting you. Then a month goes by, maybe a month and a half goes by, and all of a sudden you say, wow, some of those leads that I've been generating, I finally got an appointment. I actually am getting ready to go on a listing appointment. Well, because you probably told your spouse that, hey, listing is the name of the game. They're like really excited. They're like, all right, great, you got a deal. And well, I don't know if it's a deal yet, is what you say back to them. I do have a listing appointment though. So you got to remember, they're thinking a listing appointment is a deal because they don't understand the business. Well, then all of a sudden, you come up to about 2 months, maybe 3 months, and you finally get your first listing. Or maybe you write your first buyer contract. And all of a sudden they're saying, oh yes, finally, we're going to get paid, and you're doing so good. They start, they're supporting you, they're doing their job, they're very excited. But then the 4th month comes and you haven't gotten paid yet. Then they start to look at you and say, hey, wait, on month 1, you told me you were making contacts and you were getting some leads. On month 2, you told me you set a few appointments. On month 3, you told me you got a listing. And here we are on month 4 and you've showed me nothing. Because see, there's a big disconnect in you as a new agent and how you interpret and measure success, and how your partner, your spouse, is going to interpret and measure success. If you're doing the right thing as a real estate agent, you're measuring your success based on whether or not you're following the proper steps. If you're a spouse, you're measuring success based on how much money you've earned or how many sales you've made. So as you can see, there's a point where everyone's really excited, and then there's a crossroad where you're excited, but the spouse is starting to question whether you made the right decision. This is where a big challenge comes to those new agents. So, I want to share with you what to do. Number 1, you've got to manage expectations up front, because when they expect that a check will be here pretty soon, and it doesn't appear, then they're going to start questioning whether or not you made the right decision. And when they start questioning you at home, guess what you start doing? You start questioning you, and it ends up leading to less confidence. In other words, as they question you and you question yourself, your confidence goes down. And when your confidence goes down, then you do not perform at the same level. So you will make less contacts, you will set less appointments, and you'll get less listings, and you'll write fewer contracts if your confidence is low. So what you have to do is you have to keep your confidence high, which a lot of times means you need to manage your partner and make sure that their confidence remains high. So the first thing you want to do is you want to manage expectations. And I wrote down a few things. Number 1 is manage their expectations up front. I think it's always a good idea if you're going into real estate, after you decide on what company you're going to hire, have a meeting with the broker or manager or an owner like myself, the person that's really in charge. Have a meeting with your spouse and yourself and have them help you manage expectations and explain the process. So when the third or fourth month comes and there's no commission check yet, your spouse is still supportive and understanding that you're following the process and great things are about to come to you. That's number one, is manage those expectations. The other thing is, number two I've got down here, is you've got to define what you're going to measure. Get an agreement with your spouse on what it is you will measure and she can measure to determine whether or not you are successful. So for example, instead of using a sale or a listing to determine whether or not you're successful, how about looking and measuring contacts? How about measuring how many emails you've generated through your prospecting? How about measuring how much time you've committed to learning your scripts? How about measuring how much time you've committed to role playing? How about listing appointments? Start measuring things that are part of the process, not the things that actually are the result. Because the result's just going to come. And for some of you, it'll come faster than others. But if you follow the process, the result will appear for every one of you. So you've got to make sure that you have an agreement and talk up front about what it is you're going to measure to determine whether or not you're being successful. So then if you're doing all the things that it takes to be successful and your partner sees that you're doing those, then they will remain positive, therefore you will remain confident. And the last thing that you have to do, and I guess there's many things you could do, but one other thing that I suggest is you have to explain that it's a numbers game. When you go home and you tell them, I set 4 appointments this week, and you're only in your 4th week of business, what they've got to understand is that 4 appointments does not mean 4 deals. As a matter of fact, for a new agent, because a lot of times new beginning agents don't really know what is a good qualified appointment versus what is a low quality appointment, a lot of times you might go on 4 appointments and get 0 listings out of that or write 0 contracts. I think it's a success that you went on that many appointments so early in the game, but your partner's going to see that as failure. So you got to understand, you've got to explain to them that it is a numbers game. And in the beginning, your conversion ratios will be low, and then over time, as your skills improve, your conversion ratios will improve. So, in order to better manage your conversations with your spouse, your partner, up front when you're thinking about getting into real estate, or you're actually just starting your real estate career, the things that you need to think about is, number one, you got to manage their expectations, as well as your own expectations. You've got to define how you're going to measure success. Make sure that you don't box yourself into success only equals a paycheck. Because believe me, I know top real estate agents doing over 100 deals where their first paycheck didn't come until 6 months. And then I know other agents that are lower producing agents that got their first commission check within the first 45 days. So the last thing we want to do is let a paycheck, how quickly you get a paycheck, define how successful you're going to be in the future, because it does not work that way. So, in other words, define with your partner how you're going to measure success so you're on the same page, and then make sure that you explain that real estate is a numbers game. And they have to understand, just like baseball, you might get up 10 times and only hit the ball 3 times. That's only 3 in baseball it's called a batting average of 300, which means 3 out of 10, which means you failed 7 out of 10 times. If you succeed in baseball of hitting the ball 3 out of 10 times, you can make it to the Hall of Fame. And let me tell you, in real estate, it's just like that. There is a numbers game. If you say get 4 listings out of every 8 appointments that you go on, you make it to the Hall of Fame. So I hope this is helpful. Again, I know that this is a conversation that goes on behind closed doors in people's homes, and I'm just hoping to bring this out in case one of you who's thinking about getting into real estate, maybe one of you will listen to this and it'll make your experience that much better. And if you're in real estate right now and you're a beginning agent and you're going through this process and you have any questions on how to handle this and how to better manage this so you can have a peaceful and joyful home, then just let me know. Email me. I'll do anything I can to help you. Again, this is Greg Harrelson with Century 21. If you know anyone in the Myrtle Beach area or Charleston, South Carolina area that's thinking about getting into real estate and would like to talk about, developing to become a top producer, then please give them my name. I'm here to help. Talk to you soon.